What's the deal, everyone? Welcome back to the studio. I'm Jeremy Deal, and today I'm going to talk about the mReal Estate plugin from Motion VFX for Davinci Resolve. Now, before we get into it, I should say that Motion VFX did send me out a copy of this plugin to try. They're not sponsoring this video, and they have no say-so over the final video itself. All the processes and workflows are my own, but if you stick around to the end of the video, I'll let you know how you can win a copy of this plugin for yourself, and that part is sponsored by them. This plugin is available for PC and Mac users and currently can be used in Final Cut Pro and Davinci Resolve, with the latter of the two being my editing software of choice, so everything I talk about will be using Davinci on a PC in particular. I've been integrating the mReal Estate plugin into my workflow over the past month, and so far when it comes down to the price, I've yet to come across a bundled package that has so many assets specifically for the real estate industry in particular. It has a total of 116 elements in a few different categories, and I'll be going over all those categories in just a few moments. I'm not going to go over every single asset in the plugin, but I will be showing you my favorites on screen as I talk about them. The plugin integration is much better than most for Davinci, with Motion VFX having their own plugin software, kind of like Red Giant software for Premiere was back in the day when I was still all Adobe, if you've ever used that. This is the first plugin I've used for Davinci that uses this type of integration platform and ease of use for install and updates. I thoroughly enjoyed that aspect, and it makes purchasing a lot of plugins from one source much more manageable and, once again, easy to use in Davinci itself. The thing I like the absolute most, I've already drug on about. How many of these are actually applicable to our use in real estate? Of the 116 assets, there are only 9 that I have not found a useful purpose for it yet, and of those 9, only 3 assets that I just straight up don't like the look of. From my experience, to purchase an asset pack of 116 and only dislike 3 is like unheard of. I have roughly 10 other plugin packs on my device, and each one of those have between like 30 and 100 assets each, and I basically use the same 12 assets from all of those packages and never touch the rest. Might as well delete them from my machine if there was only an easy way to do so. You know, you would think it would be simple as like right click and delete, but no. You gotta go track down the source files in your file manager and remove it from there manually. It doesn't take forever, but it takes much longer workaround than it needs to be. Wait, sorry about that tangent. That has nothing to do with this asset pack. Let's get into the meat of this plugin itself. Titles. This is where you find the majority of the assets for this plugin pack, and I'll break down each subcategory and how I feel about them. Contacts. There are 8 variants here, and I think they're all usable for residential and for commercial video applications. None of them are overly cheesy and showy. They're all different enough to use them for different reasons for tone and branding, just depending on the agency or builder you're currently working with. Icons. They've got 33 different motion icon assets in this pack, and I can honestly see a use for all of them except for this one. I'm sure someone out there has a use for the gavel judgment, but I can't think of one. All the others are useful in their own scenario, like the kitchen one or the laundry room one, and my absolute favorite one being the location pinpoint. I honestly wish there was a version of this one that was filled in as well, so it would be more visible for my aerial shots, but I find this one in the majority of my videos that I make now, especially the ones that have aerial footage in them. There's one thing missing from the asset pack though, which would be super useful. 1 or 2 options for like amenities icons, for showing in the video when listing out the features. Other than that, again, nothing to complain about here. Infographics. If you work with builders or rehabs on a regular basis, you're gonna get some serious use out of this part of the plugin in particular. There are 8 assets here, and 4 of them could be considered really useful for residential videos, and all 8 could be viable for use in commercial application. I really like the one specifically for reno cost breakdown and the price increase projections. My flippers really like those when presenting to their partners, and Infographics 4 and 6 are both extremely useful for my residential videos. Having those very specific stats are very useful for agents to put out there and relevant information for buyers to have up front. Personally, I don't really like any of the ones that work with the price of the property, because every time that number changes, I have to make a change to the video and then re-upload it. So really, I don't really use those very much, unless of course it's like a fixed rent price or an apartment complex or something like that. Lower thirds. Again, here for the lower thirds option, I was surprised. I was expecting different colored versions of the same thing like you get in every other purchase, but these 10 lower third assets are all unique, very usable, and contain more information than just names and titles like every other pack out there. As a matter of fact, none of them serve that purpose. These are built to relay information to the buyers and range in topic from neighborhood labels, property advantages, branding contents, room markers, and more. Again, in this category, I think this plugin shined because everyone is useful and different enough to actually use regularly. That's more important. Tools. In the tools section, we have 6 variations, and unfortunately, this is the one aspect of the plugin I have yet to find a use for. I like tool number 4, but as for the others, I've yet to find a situation to use any of these in, except for, of course, the previously mentioned number 4. In the beginning of the video, I talked about the few tools I have yet to find a use for. Here they are. So instead of dragging this section out anymore, let's move on to typography. Here are 26 assets, and they are a lot like the 10 lower thirds assets I talked about earlier, and the fact that they're all super unique and more than you expect. Again, there's everything from property asset lists to callouts to mock search bars and room markers. A lot buried under this one category, including the 3 title screen options. These titles are the other area I think this plugin is lacking a little more. I expected to find a new opening title scene for my videos here, and while I do think options 1 and 3 look good, I've yet to make them look good in one of my videos. A few more options here would be great, but I think complaining about wanting more when this pack has already supplied so much actual use, it's like irrelevant. I don't know. I bet they sell different title packs, and maybe I should look into that for another video. Now let's talk about the effects. Here we have all kinds of spice you can just toss around your videos to impress clients. Just like with spice in real life or out in the dunes, you don't want to use too much. A little goes a long way. You wouldn't want to use a bunch of these in a single video, but throwing 1 or 2 per video will really set yours apart from others in your market. The ease of use without requiring you to go into the Fusion page to change things around is awesome. And again, all built for real estate in particular. No effects for sports or news, all applicable to the real estate market we make video for. Now, I saved my least favorite part of the plugin for last. Transitions. Those of you who have been following me for a long time know that I don't use many fancy out-of-the-box transitions in my videos. I use in-camera practicals and effects for the majority of my transitions, and the plugin, well, this one hasn't really convinced me to change that. With only 5 options, I find 3 of them to be pretty dated in their look and feel, with numbers 4 and 5 to be pretty cool and useful. Coming from someone who never uses graphic transitions, to use 2 of the 5 is actually a much higher percentage than I would have thought. I have probably like 180 different transition effects in my Davinci catalog, and I use like 10 of them, and 2 of those came from this plugin. Overall, the mReal Estate plugin has been super useful for my workflow and impresses my clients time and time again by providing them with something that was actually quite easy for me, even though it looks like it took a lot of extra post-production time. I mentioned earlier, if you hung around to the end, you would find out how to win your very own copy of the plugin. Again, I want to thank Motion VFX for sending me out this plugin to begin with and letting me try it, because I truly was impressed by how useful it was for real estate in particular. They're not sponsoring this video, but they did send it out for me to try, and they are sponsoring this free giveaway for my subscribers I'm going to tell you about now. If you want to be entered in the giveaway, all you have to do is subscribe to my channel, like this video, and comment down below with the one thing that you think is missing from Davinci Resolve. It can be anything you missed from a different editing program or something you wish was easier. It can be anything you want to see from the program, even titles. And on September 29th, we'll be randomly selecting the winner, so keep a lookout on my replies to your comments after the beginning of October. If you can't wait that long, you can use my affiliate code link down below to purchase the plugin, and that's in the descriptions. As always, keep rocking and rolling, enjoy what you're doing, make smart business decisions, like purchasing this plugin through my affiliate link down below, and I'll catch you next time. Time to go edit more real estate videos with the mReal Estate plugin. Peace!